Native American history within the United States unfolds as a rich tapestry of Indigenous peoples who have called North America home for millennia. These diverse communities brought with them a treasure trove of cultures, languages, and traditions. However, in the early 17th century marked a turning point with the arrival of European settlers, ushering in a transformative period for Native Americans. This era witnessed the devastating impact of diseases, land seizures, forced relocations, and intercultural conflicts. One poignant episode etched in this narrative is the Trail of Tears during the 1830s, where the Cherokee Nation endured the painful and unjust expulsion from their ancestral lands. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw the implementation of federal policies designed to assimilate Native Americans, such as the Indian boarding schools. Discrimination, erosion of cultural heritage, and limited access to fundamental rights became all too familiar. Land acknowledgement. In acknowledging the land of Wisconsin's Indigenous peoples, we honor the profound history of this state. It stands as a testament to the ancestral territories of diverse Native American tribes. Among them, the Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi. This recognition underscores their unwavering presence, invaluable cultural legacies, and the imperative to uphold their sovereignty and ancestral customs. Embracing the practice of land acknowledgement in both public and private events is a vital step toward fostering respect, understanding, and reconciliation. By acknowledging the ancestral lands of Indigenous peoples, we not only pay homage to their enduring connection with the land, but also recognize the historical injustices they have endured. This simple yet powerful gesture demonstrates commitment to inclusivity and a shared commitment to healing past wounds. It's an opportunity to educate and raise awareness about the unique cultural and historical significance of the land on which we gather. As we move forward, let us all actively incorporate land acknowledgement into our events, ceremonies, and daily lives. It's a meaningful way to honor Indigenous communities, amplify their voices, and collectively work towards a more equitable and inclusive future. The historical injustices inflicted upon Native Americans in the United States are a painful chapter in our nation's history. For centuries, Indigenous peoples faced a relentless series of hardships, including land disposition, forced relocations, and the devastating impact of diseases brought by European settlers. The 1830s Trail of Tears is a heart-wrenching example of the forced removal of the Cherokee Nation from their ancestral lands. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, federal policies aimed at assimilation, such as the Indian boarding schools, aimed to erase Native cultures and languages. Discrimination and loss of traditional practices were commonplace, and Native Americans were often denied basic rights and opportunities. In ancient threads of our heritage, the significance of our braids is woven deeply. Each strand tells a story, a lineage, a connection to our ancestors, carrying within them the essence of our people's resilience and wisdom. Stereotypes and mascots rooted in Native American imagery have perpetuated harmful misconceptions for far too long. These stereotypes often reduce Native peoples to caricatures and distort the richness and diversity of our cultures. Examples include the portrayal of Natives as warlike, stoic, or primitive. To challenge these stereotypes, education is essential. Raising awareness about the complex, diverse cultures of Indigenous peoples is a critical step. Emphasizing the contemporary contributions of Native Americans in various fields, from art to science, helps dispel outdated myths. Eliminating Native American mascots in sports and educational institutions is another crucial action. Many organizations have replaced such mascots with symbols that respect and honor Native cultures without relying on harmful stereotypes. Engaging in open dialogue with Native communities to understand their perspectives and concerns is vital in this process. Ultimately, it's about recognizing the humanity and rich heritage of Native Americans, ensuring their voices and stories are heard, and celebrating their ongoing contributions to society. Cultural traditions. Native American ceremonies are deeply spiritual and hold great cultural significance. Smudging, for instance, involves the burning of sacred herbs like sage to purify and cleanse. Prayer ceremonies play a vital role in connecting with the spiritual world, seeking guidance, and giving thanks. Powwows are vibrant gatherings where Indigenous peoples come together to celebrate their heritage through music, dance, and traditional regalia. These events foster community, share stories, and honor their cultural legacy. I also would like to add that powwows hold a deep spiritual and ceremonial and communal importance. So reducing the term to describe any informal meeting or party outside of its traditional context can diminish its significance and cultural integrity. Therefore, refraining from using the word powwow to describe non-cultural, casual gatherings demonstrates cultural sensitivity and respect towards Native American traditions and helps avoid trivializing and appropriating their customs and language. It is essential to respect these sacred practices and ceremonies by asking for permission before taking photos or recordings. This shows consideration for the spiritual and personal aspects of these events and helps maintain the dignity of these traditions. Education initiatives that promote cultural sensitivity in the Wisconsin educational system play a vital role in fostering understanding and respect for Native American cultures. These initiatives may include curriculum integration, incorporating Native American history, traditions, and contemporary issues into the curriculum, ensuring that students learn about the rich heritage of Indigenous peoples in the region. Teacher training, providing professional development for educators to increase their knowledge and cultural sensitivity, enabling them to teach Native American topics effectively. Native American guest speakers, inviting Indigenous guest speakers and community members to share their experiences, stories, and knowledge with students, allowing for direct engagement and understanding. Organizing cultural events, workshops, and activities that expose students to Indigenous arts, music, and dance promotes appreciation for Native American creativity. Library resources, ensuring that school libraries have a diverse collection of books and resources about Native American history and contemporary issues. Language revival, supporting efforts to support and revitalize Native American languages by incorporating language programs in schools. Building partnerships with local Native American communities to develop and implement culturally sensitive educational initiatives that reflect their values and priorities. By implementing such initiatives, the Wisconsin educational system can contribute to a more inclusive and culturally sensitive environment, fostering respect for Native American communities and their contributions. Advocacy and support. The ACLU has been a steadfast ally in supporting Native American causes, advocating for the protection of tribal sovereignty, land rights, and social justice. They stand alongside Indigenous communities in their pursuit of equal rights, fair representation, and a just legal system. By actively engaging in legal battles and raising awareness about the unique challenges faced by Native Americans, the ACLU encourages us all to support these fundamental principles. Promoting Native American cultural exchange and fostering understanding between Native and non-Native communities in Wisconsin is such a powerful way to celebrate the rich cultural diversity of the state. By engaging in these activities and fostering an environment of respect, collaboration, and understanding, we can celebrate the rich cultural diversity in Wisconsin, honor the heritage of Native communities, and strengthen the bonds that unite us as a society.
What's one thing I wish non-Native people would know about Native cultural sensitivity is don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask questions. Don't assume the answer. Even if you think you know the answer, ask questions. But also know that by asking questions, you're probably going to get some weird or wrong answers because we like to tease. So I guess what I'm saying is you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But at least you can say you asked the question.
What is one thing I wish non-Native brothers and sisters understood about Native cultural sensitivity? I wish that people understood that we are not a monolith, that there is a wide variety of opinions, thoughts, takes, hot takes on just about everything, just like any other people. So please keep that in mind when you are trying to get a sense of what Native people might feel on an issue.
Hey, what's up? It's Lil Mike and Funny Bone. One thing we want non-natives to know about Native cultural sensitivity is to not let your stereotypical beliefs limit a group of people. We all have our own paths, our own beliefs. Creator made us all unique. So do better, treat each other sacred.
Kolomosi ni Dushinzi, Wichiwa ni Ukane, Nino GIE, Shana, Wisconsin, Lenapehoking, wherever the Mohican are. Good evening. My name is Dr. Nicole Bowman. I am a member, can you see it, of the Stockbridge Munsee tribe, and I am a traditional Indigenous woman working hard to apply traditional teachings to the scholarship that I practice. The question came to me, if there was one thing that I could teach our non-Indigenous Native brothers and sisters on cultural sensitivity, what would it be? I wouldn't use the word cultural sensitivity. I would call it cultural competency, and I would call it something that is very important from a cultural, technical, theoretical, and methodological and resource standpoint. As you work with Indigenous communities and First Nations in particular, and it could be Indigenous urban communities or Indigenous scholars, we cannot have settler colonialism activities where you are extracting from our bodies and our minds, just like that happens with the earth, without paying attention to the consequences. And there can be positive or negative consequences. And so if you think about having a long-term, equitably resourced, reciprocal, and respectful relationship with Indigenous people and communities, that would be the first thing that I would ask to be done. And that means doing your work. So if you're learning a new theory or method, if you're learning about new partnerships, it takes time. It takes elbow grease. I'm a blue-collar scholar, so you got to put some elbow grease into that. But you come with a good mind, a good heart, and a good spirit, and be authentic. And even if you don't know, say you don't know. Do your work that you can. One of my elders said books can't talk back. That's why being in relationship and being Walit Nialagomatit, a good relative, is important in the work that we do and in life. And so part of the work you need to do is to take that origin story and that internal journey to figure out where you came from, how you are descended if you're non-Indigenous from colonization, or if you're upholding the settler state. That's nothing to be ashamed of. That's part of the transformational journey that we're trying to take together. In Canada, they call it truth, healing, and reconciliation. In the United States context, we have to get to the truth. And the first step, if you look at 12-step communities, is admitting there's a problem. So non-Indigenous people, and I mean white, privileged folk, need to take that first step. And that's the conversation that needs to happen by, with, and for non-Indigenous people. I wouldn't include people of color in that conversation, although there needs to be some capacity building as well. But we have to think about our LGBTQ, Two-Spirit brothers and sisters, the differently abled, people of color, and Indigenous people. And as another one of my elders says, Indigenous people are not stakeholders, we're rights holders, and we're also knowledge holders for those of us who get that responsibility given to us from our community and from our traditional teachers. So I would ask that you take the time to check yourself, It's the shortest physical distance, but sometimes it's a long journey when you're non-Indigenous to figure out what you don't know, what your blind spots are, how you have benefited from the legacies of your ancestors at the expense of our ancestors, and would ask that you just do that work. And the work's never done. We're all working to be better humans. Anishik, thank you for letting me share.
Posone Tanui Mucknup. I'm Michael Fish Jr. I'm from the Menominee Nation out of Kashina, Wisconsin. I'm the regional tribal organizer with Wisconsin Native Vote. So the big question today is, if you could let non-natives know about Native American cultural sensitivity, what would it be? My answer to that is don't assume. Don't assume you know our culture, our traditions, or our beliefs. Ask questions. Ask questions respectfully. You know, questions can be disrespectful, so ask them in a respectful way. Because our people, you know, they're still suffering, you know, from many generational traumas that the government has put us through. The government tried to take away our religion, our ceremonies, our language, and our ancestors fought really hard for us to keep that and to have the things that we have today as Native American people. So, but in today's life as a Native American, you know, it's good to see the NFL, you know, the NBA, you know, recognizing the truth of what Native Americans went through. And also it's good to see a lot of movies, you know, tell our story of what Native Americans went through. You know, for me, it's hard to see that, what my ancestors that went through. You know, even my great-grandparents are the ones that experienced that, and it's hard to see that. But it's good to have our children and our future generations see that. It makes them, you know, feel prouder to be Native American. But please don't assume. You know, ask questions. And no, we don't live in teepees. Wow.
What's one thing I want non-natives to understand about Native culture sensitivity is to create space for the Indigenous people in your life. At times, we're often walking into a world, whether that's in education, healthcare, politics, or even in the city away from our home reservations. Creating space is, I think, showing allyship, and you want to know more about my culture, you want to know more about my people, because oftentimes Indigenous people have to create space for themselves. And this space is a safe place to ask questions. It'd be a place to pull out their medicines, you know, a place to speak our language, to be ourselves, to let out a joke no one else is going to laugh at in the room. And I also think that creates community, and Indigenous people thrive off of community, and we need community. And I think that's one thing I would want non-natives to know about Native culture sensitivity.
Okay, regarding Indigenous values for non-native people. So what I would like for people to understand is we had very complex family, social, and political systems which were significantly more advanced than what Europeans had at the time of contact. So these systems and processes, they're ancient and they're part of our identity. You know, and we grab a hold of that in today's world. We incorporate that into how we're going forward. So when we take a look at those systems and processes, we have something to offer. We have something to teach. We have something to share so that we can help create a better world for everybody.